The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, callers, and advisors on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be represented in part or entirety without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved.
Coming up tonight, as questions mount on the whereabouts of Energy Minister JoBeth Colby-Davis in light of BPL's woes, Prime Minister Davis is stepping up. Opposition leader Michael Pintard says the Prime Minister's Monday night address shed no light on the way forward for the embattled electricity provider. The Bahamas Union of Teachers snubs the Ministry of Education's latest attempt at an industrial agreement. We have the latest view on that. And what are your thoughts on the months-long, almost $7 per gallon of gas, in some instances even more than that? It's putting a squeeze on many households and motorists. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. As Bahamians continue to grapple with frequent and prolonged power outages, Prime Minister Philip Davis is making it clear that he will be the one held accountable for the government's response to the country's ongoing electricity crisis. Davis's comments come as questions continue to mount over the absence of Energy Minister JoBeth Colby-Davis, who has yet to directly address the nation outside of press statements as consumers battle through repeated blackouts. This despite previous assurances by Colby-Davis that the grid would be ready for the summer. The outages continuing to disrupt daily life for families and putting additional pressure on businesses already feeling the financial impact of the unstable power supply. With questions being raised over who should be answering for the country's power problems, the nation's chief made his position clear.
The buck stops here. And that's the answer you'll give to those who are concerned about whether she is quiet or not.
Well, that's it. The Prime Minister, listen, the Prime Minister wasn't slopping up with that. It's just a few words. The buck stops with him, and he will answer, and who better than number one, eh? Well, I want to know what the panel think of that. What do you think of that, in fact? Let me hear some of your responses on that. After all, the Prime Minister, as many people say, is experienced when it comes to BPL, for example. After all, he sat in the chair of Minister of Works before, so he is quite familiar, and who better to speak? Or do you think so? Welcome to Beyond the Headlines contributors, Candice Scott, Ellington Ferguson, and Michael Turnquest. Peggy, it's good to have you here. Good evening to you. And gentlemen, good evening to you as well. Your thoughts on the Prime, well, first of all, the questions. Why you think people are even questioning where the minister is when the Prime Minister is being very vocal and out front as it relates to BPL and answering questions. Your thoughts?
Good evening, Shani. Good evening, Bahamas. Good evening, co-panelists. It is so good to be back. I think the Prime Minister understands his responsibility as leader of this nation, and whatever is happening in this nation, he is to take responsibility for it. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. And so he stepped up. He's not dodging. He's not running. He's answering questions. The minister has spoken to these issues. I don't know why people continue to ask her. Even when the Prime Minister did the walkabout at Blue Hill Road substation, doing live interviews, answering questions on the spot. Somebody's like, well, where's the minister? If you have the number one minister addressing the issue, everybody answers and report to him. So I think he's well informed, and he's showing that he's well capable of answering the tough questions.
Well, good evening, Shanique, and good evening, Bahamas. Thank you for having me once again. I think when you asked the question about the Prime Minister and people still asking for Honorable JoBeth Colby Davis, I think we've heard her in the past, and now the Prime Minister stepped up to the plate, taking full responsibility. This is his administration. All of the other ministers serves at his pleasure. The agenda that's on the country right now is the agenda that the Prime Minister set as they sit collectively in cabinet and discuss the various issues. This is what he's chosen to do at this time, to have an energy reform. It's not JoBeth's government. And so I think the buck stops with him, like he said. Ultimately, people are going to judge this administration based on its handling of this and the outcome of this and how long it drag out, because I'm going to tell you, this cannot drag on for another year. Once it drag on for another year, it can be the downfall of this administration. So the Prime Minister is right to step up to the plate. After the Prime Minister would have spoken, I don't think nobody can come or should come behind the Prime Minister to say anything else. What could you say if the Prime Minister say ABC? Okay, ABC is what it is, and we, the Bahamian public, are to digest that and see whether it makes sense, whether we accept it, or whether it gives a clear path to where we're going with this energy reform.
You know, Shanique, I think, the reality of it is the Bahamian people are suffering. We've seen where administration after administration has continued to fail the Bahamian people. At one point, there was Power Secure. It was a management contract that, it was all glitz and glamour, that they would have done, wonders for the Bahamas and bring electricity costs down and give us reliable energy. And then after that, it was the Minister administration with new generators in terms of generation that would have, carry us for the next, 20 years. That is obvious that failed us. And now we have, a new administration, which is now, another deal, Bahamas Grid. And it's just another, it seems though another failure, whereas though the Bahamian people at the end of the day continue to suffer, whereas though we get these politicians, they come to the table and they give these great speeches about, bringing costs down, giving us reliable energy. And I think administration after administration, it continues to, fail. At the end of the day, it's not, this administration can't blame, pass the buck anymore. Like the leader, the Prime Minister said, the buck stops at him. Yes, it does. But at the end of the day, there needs to be, I think, timelines, definitive timelines, because this is something that's just continued to drag out after, not year after year, administration after administration after administration. And there needs to be clear, direct timelines that Bahamians can say, hey, we have reliable energy, we have costs, low cost energy, and like you say, fuel rates, and even when of those are finally going to go down.
Listen, you all fill up recently. We'll get there though. Don't jump ahead. Don't jump ahead. We'll get there. Now, Michael, is back to what you were saying. Ellington says, listen, this administration has about a good year to get this right. Otherwise, people are going to get frustrated and get fed up. Do you think they have a year to get this BPL matter right, or at least for there to be some marked improvement?
Shanique, something I think, if you talk to people and talk to persons in BPL, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. At the end of the day, I think, and when I say that what should have been done decades ago with the information provided, I always say we know as a people or the BPL as an organization or Ministry of Works, the governments know exactly what load can be expected, whether it be 5-10 years, because they have projects that come. They come to the Bahamas. They said they have a 5-year, 10-year plan in terms of come online or to go live. The data is there. I think what we don't do is put competent people in place who can take all that data, whether it be persons in BPL or persons at Ministry of Works, and passing the data along, saying this is what the expectation should be for Eleuthera, the expectation for the future load for not for Providence, for Bimini, all these various islands where these investors come and they throw these hefty plans, and we know they're going to consume tons of energy. that's going to require additional infrastructure. And I don't think people sit down and actually do the actual analytics that need to be done to say, hey, this is what we need to start looking 10 years down the line, because we expect additional load to be on stream in the next 5 to 10 years.
You're right, because meanwhile development continues. Eleuthera, for example, and the nation as well. Ellington, this is what I said Monday evening after the Prime Minister's national address. Ellington and Peggy, I said this is what BPL must be doing. The Prime Minister came, and I'll tell you, the only thing that made that palpable and be able to digest it somewhat is because in the measured way he presented it. We heard a lot of that before, but he presented something to say, okay, yeah, we get it. We understand what's at play here, what's on the table, what's going on. Of course, we want this improved. We've been hearing it. We want it improved. But BPL has got to continue talking to the Bahamian people.
But BPL is talking to the Bahamian people.
When and where?
But I don't know what it's going to take. We put out videos, we put out scripts, we go on the site of the various solar farms. We show them where the solar farms are. We produce pictures. We talk about the LNG signing, that everything is happening, taking place. It's a process. It's not an overnight fix, but things are being done even from the last administration. It is not for the lack of communicating what is being done. We have put it out every day. Something is being created to explain what is going on, to explain what it is with El Nino, the heat, the use. And because you have people coming on constantly saying, oh, you are suffering when there's an explosion underground cable, when there's a transformer explosion. Everything is communicated. The updates.
Ellington, is it impactful and is it effective? Because
you cannot make people accept what is being said.
Communicated
I do
where?
not think what BPL does via the social network is very effective. I think with this is a major undertaking that this administration have sought to take. I think there are a bunch of happenings as it relates to the frustration of the Bahamian people. There should be more than just the social media posting. I think there should be regular news conference to say to the Bahamian people, this is where we are. Because, Shanique, we listened to the president of the union last evening, and all is not well based on what we heard from him with BPL. There are several different companies involved, and based on the union leader, there are some companies that are not even carrying their weight. We don't know why they're in there. And so all is not well. Yes, we see, you may say you see in you're sending out those social media posts, but it's not reaching the people like it should. It's not communicating the message of what is being done, where we are, what will happen today, what's going to happen the next week, what's going on in these areas. All we find out afterwards, the power off again.
No, so there's a blow. We had the chairman spoke. The chairman does the interview. The CEO spoke, Tony Pratt. The COO spoke. The Prime Minister is speaking. Nobody is satisfied, and they're all saying the same thing because they're the only things that can be said.
Before Monday night, one second, Michael. Before Monday night, when was the last time somebody spoke? See, understand?
Every day.
Yeah, where?
Every day. There were press conferences. There was the introduction of BGC CEO, COO. Every time there's a communication, they only could say the same thing. You recommend that they come out and give press to repeat to your annoyance, to your further your frustration, to say this is happening. When a cable blow bursts on the ground, we go there, we show it so people can appreciate this is what is being done. This is it. The men are working. I mean, I don't know.
What Bahamian need to understand is that why are we having all of a sudden all of these cable fault disruption, all of these breakdowns? We understand when the weather comes and the lightning hit a power station, it catches fire. We understand that. But all of the other interruption, we just had some more today. What is going on? Is the system collapsing?
No, it is 1,000 degrees, not making any excuse. It is happening globally. It's called El Nino. The heat rising. Underground is very hot. I myself was at Clifton Pier today. Drowning. It is hot. These men are working in these conditions, preparing as they explode. And this is not new to the Bahamas. But we are in the Bahamas.
Michael,
so
what are you
it don't
saying?
matter.
I would disagree. The issue is you have aging infrastructure. At the end of the day, whether it be cable lines and they're underground, that you continue to put more and more load on, and eventually
Who
the
puts
cables
more and
are
more load on it, Mr. Michael? Who?
BPL
No,
or
our
the government.
customers. When you
Exactly.
when you put
BPL should
and
know
so
exactly what
and
it
so
is.
the demand,
I
they
understand,
increase the demand.
Peggy, but you understand? Yes, Peggy.
They
you
increase
can,
demand.
You
These
cannot
are-
get
these are what they're
around
coming for.
increased demand. You cannot get around
and
that.
so there are increased demand, increased eat. It's a combination of things, and
But
we
it
are
is not the
explaining that.
customer's
But
fault.
it is. Say it again.
BPL should be able to listen.
It is not the customer's fault. And I
Exactly.
just
It is not a fault.
Exactly.
It is a fact. I'm
But
not saying it's a
but my
fault.
point
I'm
is-
telling
my
you what is
point-
happening,
my
and
point
that
is
is I'm
that
saying.
Peggy, let Michael talk. We understand
point is
exactly what you're
BPL
saying,
has
but
the
BPL
edge,
has
should
to
have
step
the-
up. Go ahead.
Right, BPL should have the persons who are educated enough who would work along with the other ministries.
So who you think
to
is
say,
fixing
hey,
it?
let-
If they're not
let me
educated
finish.
enough.
Let him finish. Let Michael
me finish. And when I say at the end of the day, they are the ones who have the data that tells them at the end of the day, we should not put any more customers on this particular, whether it be substation, because the lines can't take it. They are the ones that we look, who have the engineers and the expertise that we as customers look forward to say, hey, now if you tell me, sorry, we can't bring you on, we have to put another transformer out, another line, this X, whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, or we can take this particular developer and bring his big development on this particular power station because the lines, the distribution lines can't take it.
With that, I agree with you. In a conversation and a piece that I'm working on, my recommendation is moving forward. There should be no approval without saying, well, are you prepared to take 50% of your construction or your electricity and put it on solar personal? I don't think there
The
should
bottom
be
line is this,
any
you all.
other
The bottom
approval.
line is this. For the last 2 years, we thought we would have been further along. It's as simple
Yes,
as that. It
absolutely.
don't matter. We are not going to turn away progress. After all, we need these new developments. Eleuthera is brimming with new development and opportunity. Do we want the economy to thrive? Well, the BPL must also thrive.
A proper energy company that is properly managed and organized, Shanique, is supposed to anticipate the growth of our communities. They're supposed to anticipate where new housing development is going, and they're supposed to be ahead of the curve as it relates to be prepared to supply energy. We had this conversation when Bahama come here. When Bahama was coming here, we were talking about whether the company can sustain a Bahama, how much that's going to put on the grid. We've already had Atlantis. So we've had this kick the can down the road about BPL and the energy sector for many, many years. And now we've come to a point where we're in emergency mode. And that is what is happening. Do we have the necessary things in place to fix this? Is this coming to a head?
The new era in energy is taking place. It hasn't happened, but it is happening even as we speak.
It's a slow movement, eh?
So what's the road work?
Let's go. Let you all pull the TP back up. Prime Minister Davis is sidestepping questions over whether his government plans to take further action against the management of BPL following millions of dollars in overtime payments. We're back here again, you all, to BPL staffers. Davis, during a national address on Monday, called the nearly $20 million overtime payout in 2025 an abuse, particularly as transmission and distribution work is now the responsibility of the Bahamas Grid Company. But when pressed on whether management at BPL should face consequences over the massive payouts, the Prime Minister stopped short of detailing any further action. Davis insisted that the matter has already been addressed. The response comes as questions remain over how such a significant overtime bill was allowed to accumulate at a time when the government continues to deal with the fallout from BPL, ongoing operational and financial challenges.
Government responsible.
I'm not answering that question.
Can you say
I gave a national address on the subject matter. I laid out what I perceive to be the issues, and they'll be dealt with.
Are you concerned over the work to rule issue?
I'm not concerned about it.
So they say.
Work to rule, didn't hear about that. That's happening at BPL. The BPL,
Yes.
it is a work to rule?
Both the union of Kyle and also the management
middle
union,
management union.
they told their workers work to rule.
Y'all, listen.
No
y'all,
overtime.
Y'all don't, this the same, what y'all saying? Jump in. Michael, don't you laugh. Don't you laugh, because listen to me, BEWU and the managers union, don't play with the Bahamian people.
No, it's not them playing cheap.
Like pressure tall.
The truth is, people have a problem with their overtime.
Of course they do. But when we come back after the break, you guys, let's jump in.
So they're saying.
I'm not saying that about their overtime. That's very different. What I'm saying is, Ellington, the point about it is, you deal with your overtime matter. We're going
But don't
to
wait to rule.
We're going to a break.
But don't wait to rule.
Go to the break. Go to the
Let
break.
all our
Go to the break. We're back after this.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash, Superwash's newest spokesmodel. And I'm here to tell you about Superwash's large capacity washers and dryers for all your big loads.
I know I see that Charlie Banana coming here just now.
Uh-oh. Luckily, it's also big enough for me to hide it.
I thought he was right over here where these large capacity washer and dryers is. It's big enough now to handle your big loads, you know. Yeah, like your comfort on your blanket. But just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop. You hear something? Yeah, that's the sound of clean. Superwash washes you, presses you, and entertains you 24/7.
Shop early to get your uniforms and get Janae's Uniform Center's buy 4 get 1 free sale. Pre-monogrammed and regular school shirts, dry fit and cotton polos, jumpers, skirts, boys long and short pants, PE shorts, underclothes, tights, socks, neckties, belts, sleeping mats, hair accessories, and character work desk. Get 50% off backpacks, lunch bags, and raincoats. Buy 4 school shirts, get 1 free. Buy 2 skirts, jumpers, or pants, get the third 50% off. Need embroidery and monogramming done? Visit Janae's Uniform Center early. Beat the back-to-school rush. Janae's Chesapeake Road back-to-school special. Restrictions apply.
So don't be profiling anybody. Trust the leader in private lending for your personal loans. Oh, they like the path to financial freedom. Why? Just for you. Come on. Sunshine financing for a ting-a-ling-a-ling. Hey, hey. When you need that money, car, home, vacation, every. Don't be profiling in this party. What? I want that 000. I grin on there cause I got no money. You only hear me, eh? You better go by Sunshine Finance and ask them for the 000 promotion.
Go 000 with Sunshine Finance. 0 interest, 0 payments, and 0 service fees until 2027. 000. More savings, more freedom. Apply now.
My name is Charles Wesley Rowe. My organic farm is Nice Layers Organic Farm. I have 230 birds up here. I give them fresh water, pumpkin, lettuce, cabbages, all the vegetables. Anything what I eat, they eat. Right now we sell the eggs for $7 a dozen from Monday to Friday. On Saturdays, you can get 4 dozen eggs for $21. I'll be located on Jamaica Road, the western side, Silverstone Primary School.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Good to have you all here. BPL continues to cause a whole lot of heated discussion, not just on this show, but in every quarter where you are. No matter of fact, I hope everybody that they are watching tonight, meaning that the light is on, because we're going to get back to this. We were, just before the break, I was informed that there's a work to rule now. Both unions, the line staff and middle managers union at BPL, have ordered that their staff, or members rather, be on a work to rule, meaning forget the overtime. Since the overtime is an issue, well, they're going to work their hours and I guess barely work those and get through those, and then let BPL and whomever else figure the rest out. And I was saying, as we went into that break, hell no. There's no way y'all could even think that this is what y'all going to do to the Bahamian people. I asked a weather person this afternoon, is the temperature today, or was the temperature today warmer than usual? Who agreed that today's temperature was just unbelievably warm? Just very hot, right? And so, and the nights are no different. And you are going to say that y'all on a work to rule after taking home $600,000+ among 3 people? Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Contributors, Peggy Candace, Ellington Ferguson, Michael Turnquest. Your thoughts, the Prime Minister talked about the overtime pay. He says it's been addressed. We know that 2 people of the 3 have been suspended. Last night on the show, we had the union president, Kyle Wilson, who is the 3rd person. He has not been suspended from BPL, but now a work to rule has been instituted and ordered. Gentlemen and lady, your thoughts?
Shanique, I said it before, again and again and again. Overtime for these corporations, such as what used to be Batelco, which is now BTC, BPL, and also water and sewage, this type of overtime pay is nothing unusual for them. This has been happening for decades upon decades. Yes. So if they want to start an order, they have to go back many years, and they're gonna have to pull some people up out of their grave and maybe go try find some of the money. But at the end of the day, what happens in entities like these, when you have upper management, middle management, who gets the type of overtime that they get? When you look at time and a half and double time on some of these salaries, these big salaries, that sometimes upper management also are entitled to overtime. That will add up over, I don't care if you give them 10 days a month in overtime, that will add up to amount to a lot of money. And this is what I think people don't realize. Now you have the line staff. Overtime for them is that's like glory, because at the end of the day, some of them don't make that much in the first place. But this will continue. I don't care until the unions go away. But this will be something that this isn't going to end tomorrow or the day after. It's either they pay the overtime or they don't, and people's lights are going to be off. And like my good friend say, Leslie Millie, ask and sweat. And that's just what it's going to be.
Well, Shanique, I don't know what the initial findings are with the investigation, whether their initial findings substantiate them doing what they did. I would have suggested, based on all that's going on with BPL, that they should have looked into it thoroughly, and if they find some malfeasance done, then take action. But to initially suspend those persons, you must expect the union to react. These are the members of the union, and the union must react in response to take care of its members. If you're saying that what the union is citing as a legitimate overtime work, you heard the president of the union talked about how they have to come in and work for the other company that's supposed to be doing certain work. So if the company bringing them in, they ain't coming on their regular time. So again, if the union is saying this is legitimate work that have been accumulated in overtime, then you must expect them to step up in support of their members.
And if they choose to support their union leaders, then they can sweat too. And their family will sweat. And their Grammy will sweat. If they choose to follow somebody who is fighting for his reputation and his life. That's all I have to say. All us can sweat.
What you saying? The unions are fighting for their own personal agenda?
Who Kyle fighting for but Kyle?
I don't see that.
I don't ask you to see that, but who is Kyle fighting for?
Kyle is not suspended. Kyle is not suspended. So he don't have no need to fight if he's fighting for himself. Obviously, he's fighting for some persons
and
who are suspended.
only one wasn't suspended.
Or the individual who is suspended.
All right, then.
But I think
my point is, if the union staff follow their union leaders, we all will sweat if that's what it means. If you're concerned about electricity, Shanique, when you say no work to rule, then we all who don't have generators will sweat.
But the reality of it is, if you look at any private company or most private companies, most management staff do not get overtime.
No.
But you're talking about BPL staff, if you're sure BPL management get overtime. But I'm sitting right here learning from you. Are you sure BPL manager staff get overtime? That's a question for you. You sure of that? Are you sure of that?
From what I am told, they have different management tiers, and you have certain managers that do get, from what I'm told, that do get overtime. It's the same thing. It's not. And if I'm wrong, if you're a manager in BPL and don't get overtime, I don't know.
Call you and let you know.
I'm told.
Call you and let you know.
Meanwhile, you all, opposition leader Michael Pintard is not shy in expressing his thoughts on the Prime Minister's national address to the country and on the country's worsening power woes, arguing that the speech did little to reassure Bahamians that the blackouts will end. Davis addressed the nation just weeks after government officials, including the energy minister, came under fire for their silence and absence as BPL's failures turned into a bruising summer. But Pintard said the Prime Minister's address fell short of providing answers or confidence that the power problems are finally being brought under control, particularly as mounting questions remain over energy deals that, despite promises, have yet to deliver tangible results.
The truth is, at this stage, Bahamians don't need the flowery language. In a country where the power is unreliable, where families are paying more for less, and everyday life is being disrupted by the energy crisis. What we got, unfortunately, was spin. Words blown into a hot country, clearly running out of patience. And it's one thing to talk about the arrangements or the deals that the Prime Minister has entered into. But the truth is, these are arrangements he is hiding behind because we simply do not have the facts in terms of what they ought to provide.
Pintard says what makes Davis's failure to fix BPL and the country's persistent power woes even more glaring is that he has had oversight of the company dating back to his tenure as Deputy Prime Minister, yet years later, the power utility remains mired in problems, with Bahamian families and businesses continuing to bear the brunt of crippling blackouts.
But after 5 years as Prime Minister, and more than 10 years in total, close to 14 years, where he has had some direct responsibility for BPL, either as Prime Minister or Deputy Prime Minister. If the buck truly stops with him, so does the responsibility for the mess that BPL is in. In Grand Key, residents have endured stretches of no electricity. 7 days in one case, 3 days in another case. And not just them. Abaco, Eleuthera, other family islands, and many parts of New Providence continue to deal with extended outages. So for those who depend on refrigeration for medication, what do? Or those who depend on the electricity to make sure their medical equipment work. This is not a matter of inconvenience. It's a matter of life and death.
Before you all respond to Opposition Leader Pintard, I want to get some responses coming in from the viewers. Senior management says this person employees do not receive overtime in public corporations. However, this overtime exposure is necessary based on my knowledge of how the process has been abused over the years. And comparing the Bahamas to how bargaining units operate in the UK, it says collective bargaining is the issue. In the United Kingdom, there are many unions that facilitate individual bargaining. Well, we know, as Kyle said, listen, you can't go against what was bargained and agreed to in an industrial agreement, and so this overtime is part and parcel, he says. But your thoughts on what the leader of the opposition had to say, panel?
Well, Shanique, I hear the opposition, Michael Pintard, and we really need a unified approach on this. We don't need because this is what is happening today is a result of years of neglect.
Yes.
The first administration neglected BPL, I'm gonna go far back as Hubert Ingram, Christie, Minnis, and now Davis is decided that they're going to do the heavy lifting, as they say, to fix it. They're kind of a little fumbling with it, but I hope it pans out well. But all of these administration, what is being done now should have been done about 10, almost 15 years ago to ready BPL for what is coming now. We've been talking, about all of this heat and climate change, and we've been talking all of these things for a number of years. We've been building these big monstrous hotels. We've been trying to get these islands going. Eleuthera and Abaco. Abaco has been thriving. Eleuthera is growing. Exoma is growing. What were we doing with BPL in all of this time? So I really don't want no political posturing in this. I want a kind of unified approach. Let's see how we can fix this. Let's see what these companies that we've instituted in BPL and Bahama Grid and all of that. Let's see what work is being done. What are we paying for? $30 million a month. Let us see what we're getting. That is what we want.
All the islands that you mentioned, Exuma, Abaco, Eleuthera, New Providence, Andres, they all have the solar farms that at some point of starting to address the situation. If people refuse to acknowledge this, even when they are trying to assert themselves as a leader, if you refuse to acknowledge what is being done, after acknowledging that this is years and years and years, then you are being very dishonest with the people. You are stirring up, you are gaslighting. Situations are taking place on every island that was mentioned. Solar farms. We know that LNG was groundbreaking was done. The Prime Minister did give a timeline in his speech. But if you didn't listen to the speech, it will be very difficult to know these things.
Michael, you want to jump in before I shift?
Shanique, I think in this one, I agree with the leader, with the leader of the opposition. It's a life and death, and I agree with in terms of this needs to be a unified approach. But I want just to know, I don't think in this case nobody's being left out, because I understand, Life Wiki, I understand. I don't know if they're on yet. They've been off for the last 36 hours. You got Andres has been out for I don't know how long. Every island, every community in New Providence are being touched by this. I call this a pandemic.
Don't call that word. Don't call that word.
Yeah, because that's supposed to put more fear in the hearts of the
But
people.
I'll tell you this though. Yeah, you're right. This has been an equal opportunity matter.
It's
in that Lyford Key and the western area of New Providence have absolutely had their fair share of outages and extended outages. Here's another explosion. Here's another comment. This overtime abuse has persisted across administrations, both PLP and F&M administrations. It's nothing new, and we know that. We heard Leslie Pull, since he was chairman, he came here, I think it was Monday evening, and gave proof of overtimes that exceeded even some of what was disclosed last week. And so we certainly know that. Meanwhile, though, speaking of union is like I guess the headlining stories today, but this is a different union. One union has already inked its deal for teachers, but the Bahamas Union of Teachers and Government seem to be at an impasse as the union refuses to back down on their financial ask. We get the story from Laurencia Smith.
Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson is drawing a hard line in the sand, insisting the union will not back down from its demand for a 20% salary increase over 3 years, as negotiations with government drag on.
The Bahamas Union of Teachers is 79 years old and we've been to no man.
Her position comes amidst criticism over the length of the negotiation, particularly after the Bahamas Educators, Counselors, and Allied Workers Union, BACAWU, signed an industrial agreement with government back in April.
They are indebted to the government because the government allegedly gave them registration against the law. I'm not indebted to any government, any politician, any minister of labor.
But newly appointed president of BACAWU, Keisha LaRota, is pushing back against those claims regarding her union status.
registration of union and recognition of unions. Registration allows a union to operate legally, and recognition allows a union to negotiate legitimately. Anyone can read the Industrial Relations Act to be informed as what is necessary for registration and recognition.
LaRota says her team went to the bargaining table and secured an agreement in just about 2 months, one she says will benefit more than 800 members. But for Wilson and the BUT, it's been a much longer fight. The union has been at the bargaining table since October of 2025, and Wilson is now demanding a meeting with the Minister of Finance, Michael Alkitis, himself. She says that she has no intention of retreating from what her members have already agreed that they want, and says they're prepared to keep fighting for it.
We're asking for is not exorbitant. It's reasonable, but what they presented to us is unreasonable. The next thing is that we believe that the negotiating team, that their time has really expired and they need to go to their bosses and bring the financial persons.
Wilson has repeatedly taken aim at government negotiation team, and she says the problem isn't government has not accepted the union's proposal, but they have failed to explain why. She says it's time for government to take a hard look on how negotiations are being handled.
A letter to us that is addressed to Bernard Evans, the chief consultant, signed by Financial Secretary Simon Wilson, and saying this is what the government's offered and that's it. That's not negotiation.
And now the clock is ticking, with the first day of school set for August 31st, with no deal yet in sight. Is an industrial action on the table?
Industrial action does not come in one form. It comes in several different forms, and we'll not tell you which form we will use if we are forced to do so.
Laurencia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Well, there you have it, the BUT, no stranger to this tough talk and stance. We have become quite accustomed to it. I see a lot of your responses on this matter. We'll get to that. But panelists, so there you see Belinda Wilson saying, listen, no negotiation was had. Instead, something was dictated to her through a letter stating that this is the offer, this is what's on the table, accept it, like take it or leave it. Your thoughts on how this is playing out. Meanwhile, we saw that newly elected president of Beckeroo saying, listen, she negotiated the way she did in order to get to be able to move things forward.
Because I guess it's all about what your goal is and how big your ego is. Once Ms. Wilson said, throwed out an accusation and said allegedly it's hard to respect our position. There's a lot of I, because it's about her. It's about her ego. It's not about what's best for the teachers or the children. But bring the foreign teachers in, because our children need to be educated.
Shanique, when these negotiations reach these stalemate, especially in points of where there is funds, I think they need to speak, especially when they're coming to the public. I would love for them to speak more clearly and decisively and pointedly exactly what it is that's creating this impasse between the government and the union that they can't agree on. What is it? $10 more? Is it 2% more? Let the public know.
The details. Let us know
Give
what
us
it
more
is that
detail,
the government is
so we can have an
on.
understanding, because we're being affected, and so let us kind of be able to digest that and see what is there.
Don't speak generically.
Secondly, while I support whatever negotiating you all have to do, I think it was little unfair for her to take a shot at the other union as it relates to
You mean Big Bad Melinda?
how they was organized. I think that was a little unfair.
Of course,
she should
that's
have
a way.
deal with her negotiation with the government without attacking the other union.
Uncouth.
Michael Turnquest, you will have the first response after the break. As we go to the break, thank you very much, viewers. Here is a comment as we go to the break. The president of the BUT is very disrespectful in her tone. Her advocacy needs to be more respectful. Just keep your comments coming. I always like to share them. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're back right after this.
Here at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store, we believe in our prices. That's why we offer our price match guarantee. If you find any of our items being sold for a lower price at any of our competitors, whether that's online or in store, Let us know about it and we'll beat the price right there on the spot. No one does it like CBS Bahamas. Learn more at cbsbahamas.com.
Think you know a lot about money? Then prove it. What if one sound could win you big cash? Listen carefully. Then tell us exactly how much money went through the machine. One guess, one sound, one chance to win. Listen, guess, win. It's the sound of money. Brought to you by 103.5 The Beat. Powered by Island Lux Quick 5.
Has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madeira Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay eatin' well.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Great to have you all tuned in. Before the break, we saw a story where the BUT, Bahamas Union of Teachers, is really standing very strong against what was put to them in terms of union negotiations to reach an industrial agreement by the Ministry of Education, stating that, one, no negotiations happened, and that they were basically sort of given something and saying, hey, listen, this is it, accept it or not. You saw the president there saying, well, not. Michael, your thoughts on just a minute before school opens. Here's where this I guess standoff is right now.
You know, Shanique, I've always I guess the whole teachers thing has always been close. My mother's been a teacher in the public system at Uriah Macfield for 38 years, and I've never heard her to be caught up in, whether it be the union business or not, saying I'm not showing up to teach. And especially, her focus is always, the little kids that she taught at grade 1 at Uriah Macfield showed up every day, no matter what was going on, and whether she was paid or not, whether back pay or whatever it may be, she always showed up. This is something that I think we need to stop playing, because we're playing with the Bahamas, with our future. And we need to ensure that those kids on day one, teachers show up and they basically put their 200% into these kids, because at the end of the day, we cannot continue going down the road that we're going as it relates to the grade average that we see that's coming out of our school system. And we need to stop. I understand we need to take care of teachers as well and make sure they're paid. But at the end of the day, I think the focus needs to be on the kids which is going to be the future of the Bahamas, and those who might one day be working at BPL as an engineer or wherever it may be. So I think Miss at the end of the day, I understand she's fighting for her teachers and this, that, and the next. But at the end of the day, I hope that in the back of their minds, they're thinking of the kids first and they come first.
That's exactly what another viewer is saying. Listen, let's be mindful of the students who, it was revealed in a recent report that that the performance in math, for example, is absolutely less impressive than it was last year. And so I don't know where the national GPA hovers right now, but there it is, though. We already have an indication where math is hovering, worse than it was last year. And so you all are right. Yes, the teachers need to have their voices heard. They must go to the negotiating table and negotiate, I guess, respectfully, and to be able to come out with something that works. But at the same time, these kids who must go and be part of this new Bahamas that's taking shape before all of our eyes and get into this new workspace must be qualified and educated to be able to participate in it.
And so they are used as pawn in a egotistical game that is being played with every minister of education. But Chester Cooper, I'm watching him. I've read his book. I've followed his career, and I know he's the man to get everything that is needed for the children done. With or without, roundabout, it will be done. Watch.
I'm hoping that they all can come to an amicable conclusion of this, come some down the middle of the road, and let's get on with the work of educating our children.
Who's it about? If it isn't about the children in the future.
Yeah, it's very necessary. By the way, I want an update on the Ghanaian teachers or wherever that the balance, where the shortfall is, wherever they are coming from, an update on those. Will they be introduced in this new semester so that there are no empty classrooms and no teachers for classrooms on certain family islands?
I read today from the Minister of Education where over 100 Bahamians
educators.
I saw that.
Re-engaged.
These
foreigners
are going through the vetting process even now.
Yeah, but this is amazing, you all, and I want to commend them. For weeks on end, perhaps even months, well before school even closed for the summer, there he was making appeal for persons, whether they're studying, wherever they're studying in education, to come and assist in public education, and for those who were retired recently or perhaps for an extended period but are still willing and have it within them to return and help make up the shortfall. And so I did see that well over 100, I think, over 100.
Congratulations, and I personally say thank you to those teachers who step up to the plate and want to give an additional service, and I pray that they do right by you with what pay is due to you, and kudos to you guys.
Yeah, which is very, very good.
There are patriotic Bahamians. There are Bahamians like his mother who are committed to educating the next generation of Bahamians. So thank you for your service.
Great, excellent job to all of you who went and knocked on the Ministry of Education's door and said, hey, listen, we heard your ask, and we are here responding. Absolutely. Meanwhile, you all, motorists tonight expressing frustration with consistently high gas prices. This despite hopes that by now things would have leveled off and been back to normal. We get the story from Danielle Dean.
Now, it's really, really hard.
For some residents, they say that they're filling their cars with gas, but the value of the gas or the time that it lasts doesn't seem to be the same.
I remember putting in $15 gas in the customer vehicle. It was on E. And this is my experience. And I ride it for about an hour, and I run out of gas with $15 in an hour time. In an hour time, that's $15. That's a day and a half way to running for me.
Up until early this year, gas prices were consistently in the $5 range, but since March, prices have fluctuated up to $6 and above, and residents say they are continuously feeling this increase in their pockets.
Honestly, it's really pricey. Yeah, I run like $200 within like three to 4 days trying to keep gas up on my gauge and stuff like that. So like $20 don't even cut off the gas light.
Middle East tensions peaked in February of this year, leading to subsequent spikes in gas prices locally. But some residents had been holding on to hope that it was a shorter-term change. But now it seems to be the new reluctantly accepted reality. This resident says she has become accustomed to her husband filling her tank over the years, but having to dig into her own pocket today served as a real wake-up call.
Gas was only like $5 something, $5 sometime
$4 something. I remember that too. But now it's really, really high. You paying $7 or $8 for gas.
Vasco Bastian, Bahamas Petroleum Retailers Association Vice President, says amid what remains an uncontrollable situation, ludicrous claims by members of the public that the quality of petroleum has taken a dive despite the price raise continues to stand out.
Quality of the gasoline product that's supplied by the three major wholesalers in this country, Esso, Rubus, and Shell, is of top quality. That whoever is spreading that rumor, whoever made mention to that, it's nothing more than an untruth. The quality is world class.
Now, all the motoring public is left to wonder is will prices ever go back to what they were? And if so, when? Danielle Dean, Eyewitness News.
Listen, I want to know, Michael, when last you filled up and what was that experience like?
It was $130. I think what people have to realize when you speak about quality of fuel, I think, there's nothing wrong with the quality of our fuel. We know exactly what octane there is that we purchase. We don't purchase all three of the various octanes that you can purchase in the United States. But at the end of the day, what you also have to realize is that when you look at such immense heat, which can cause more evaporation. You're burning fuel at the same time. If your car is parked up, sitting, you might have a little bit of evaporation of fuel based on this intense heat that we've been, enduring over the past for this summer. I mean, over the past couple of years as well. So at the end of the day, what would have carried you, given you a mile, last year, you're getting basically a half a mile up based on, because $7, what you bought for $5, you definitely can't buy you now have to spend $7 for that same gallon of fuel. So at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we have to ride this one out until it gets better.
Well, I haven't seen such a great decrease in the traffic, and so people are obviously saying the same thing. It is, but I got to get to work. I got to do this, and I got to move in my vehicle. I pay my amount, which is in my budget. I have to now increase it from $50 to $70 a week. And I manage as best as I could, adjust as I can for my own mental health.
Well, Shanique, these are times that call for austerity measures, and drivers and the Bahamian public at large have got to kind of drive where only necessary. I mean, a lot of people still doing a lot of joy riding. That adds up and that costs.
But that also helps with mental health. So if they want to joyride,
I mean,
then just pay your gas.
If you can handle it. But no, the thing is, you've got to plan your routes, plan where you got to go. Sometimes you go east and then you go back west, then you find you got to go back east. Try it as your best you can to plan your routes, plan your activities, so you don't have to double up going back to the same place that you just came from. There's nothing we can do about it. We still have to do what we have to do. Like Peggy said a minute ago, we have to do what we have to do, and that's best. We just ride it out.
And I think what people also need to realize is that with the price increase of fuel, you realize that shipping costs has gone up, which will then drive the prices of grocery up, which, it just, at the end of the day, it's like a
domino effect.
Domino effect that, everything just goes up. And, and like I say, like Peggy and Eldon said, you have to either adjust or you ride with it.
Ride with it, absolutely. This comment coming in, viewers, by the way, thank you all so much when you participate. I try to get to as many of the comments as possible. Says, how is it that you sign up for a job knowing what the salary is and then strong arm the employer to up it? Mind you, I think teachers should be paid more. Thank you all for participating. I always like to get your views and opinions out there as well. And thank you very much, panelists. Peggy Candace, Ellington Ferguson, Michael Turnquest, thank you very, very much. And a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in this evening. It's been awesome having you here. I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.